And good afternoon, everyone. I'm James Brown. Well, the undefeated San Francisco 49ers are coming off of the first bye weekend of the 1990 season, and they spent the better part of last week preparing for this potentially explosive Houston run-and-shoot offense. My partner this year is ex-49er Randy Cross. And Randy, while Houston's offense is still being fine-tuned, over the past couple of weeks has looked pretty impressive.
And they haven't impressed anybody more than they've impressed Joe Montana from the 49ers. He says, I've got to get my ball control offense passing and running the game and get it on the field and keep Warren Moon and his offense off the field. If the Oilers really have a chance to win this game, they've got to do two things. They've got to run the ball to complement their passing game, and they can have none or very, very few turnovers.
All right, the Houston Oilers have won the coin toss and will receive as you take a look at Mike Kofer. Be kicking off for the 49ers, third-year veteran out of North Carolina State. Back deep for the Oilers. Lorenzo White and Gerald McNeil.
Back deep for the Oilers, number 44, White. In the middle, McNeil, number 89.
San Francisco, Randy, makes no difference whether they play at home or on the road, although they are actually better on the road. If they win today, they set a new NFL record for road victories consecutive. Mike Kofer. Not a very good kick indeed. So this will be at the 35-yard line. Warren Moon, very impressive quarterback on a record-setting pace this year for the Houston Oilers. And the offensive front, a big one indeed. Don Maggs, Mike Munchak, Jay Pennison, and Bruce Matthews, David Williams. Dean Steinkuhler will not start today. Backs and receivers, Lorenzo White. And the four wide receivers, Drew Hill, Hayward Jeffries, Ernest Givens, and Curtis Duncan. That run-and-shoot offense. And we'll see far more receivers than the four listed there. 1st and 10 for the Oilers. Ball at the 35. Handoff goes to White. White straight ahead, maybe 2 yards. And the defense that the Oilers will be facing today. Pierce Holt at left end, the other end, Kevin Fagan in the middle. Michael Carter getting his first start of the 90 season. Linebacking core, Haley, Millen, Keith DeLong in place for Fonhorst, and Bill Romanowski on the right outside linebacking spot. Secondary, Darryl Pollard and Don Griffin the corners. Ronnie Lott and Chet Brooks the safeties. 2nd and 8 for the Oilers. Warren Moon anxiously awaiting today's matchup with Joe Montana out of the shotgun. Moon with time. Throws it in the direction of Lorenzo White. In and out of his hands, incomplete. That will bring up a 3rd and 8.
By the Houston Oilers offense, and Lorenzo White just circled out of the backfield. Initially looked like he was going to do a blitz pickup, came and was open, but I think it's a little early game excitement and jitters on the part of the Houston Oilers by missing that pass.
Lorenzo White mentioned that indeed he had to work on his pass receiving abilities, not having done much in college.
Well, not only his pass receiving, but also his pass blocking, which will be key to keep Warren Moon healthy today.
Dime defensive package in for the 49ers. 6 DBs on 3rd and 8. Moon to his right. Complete to Duncan for the first down, +7. So Curtis Duncan comes up with a 15-yard pass from Warren Moon. And Duncan limping a little bit after the play.
And here's Duncan against Dave Waymer, number 43 from the 49ers. And what really concerns the Houston Oilers is the many looks that San Francisco 49ers give an offense. And in the run and shoot, these receivers have to make their decisions. And Duncan cut his route off earlier there, and Moon hit him right on the numbers. He headed up the field.
4th-year player out of Northwestern. Duncan goes to the sidelines, and Tony Jones, the speedster, rookie out of Texas, in his place. 1st and 10, ball at the 49 of San Francisco. Moon hands off to Lorenzo White. White hit and stopped initially by Chet Brooks. Pickup of about 4 on the play will bring up a 2nd and 6. Pierce Holt applying a little bit of pressure there as well. Jack Pardee, his first year as head coach here of the Houston Oilers, said he spent quite a bit of time when he was with University of Houston watching his team from afar, so pretty familiar with them.
Definitely. And we mentioned at the top of the show, he mentioned to us, we've got to run the ball against these guys because it keeps those defensive linemen and those linebackers always concerned with the run. If they're just going to go after Warren, it'll be a long day for Warren. We've got to keep them worried about the run.
2nd and 6. Ball at the 45 of San Francisco. Moon going up top, complete for the first down to Hayward Jeffries. And Jeffries got a lift and a carry out of bounds by Eric Davis.
One thing about this run and shoot offense, the receiver and the quarterback know where the route's going to stop. The defensive back has kept guessing. And Davis, as far as he was concerned, Jeffries was going to keep coming up the field. Jeffries cut it off and actually was stopping and not turned towards Moon when Moon released that ball.
First catch of the afternoon for Jeffries, who comes into the game 3rd in the AFC with 21 catches for 213 yards. 1st and 10 at the 35 of the 49ers. Moon to Gibbons, complete. So about the 31-yard line, inside the 30. Call it a 5-yard pickup.
One thing that's very critical against the run and shoot is spread out as they get a defense. You've got to have very, very fine tackling. And in that case, Don Griffin did a great job of wrapping up Gibbons' leg and keeping him from getting away from him, because there was not another defender within maybe 10 yards if Gibbons would have gotten away.
Second and 5 for the Oilers. Opening drive for Houston. Gibbons in motion. Moon with the long count, the handoff to White, and White up near the first down marker. It'll be close. He's got it. So Lorenzo White trying to get the fans and press off of his back with some more inspired running, a 6-yard gain.
Well, the Niners were up showing blitz, and the Oilers do an effective job of sort of mushing everything. And Lorenzo White comes up behind his line, who's getting movement on the 49ers. It wasn't very pretty. It wasn't like you draw it up in a playbook. But what the Oiler line did was cut off all the gaps and give Lorenzo White a chance to cut back, which he says is now becoming a strength of his running ability, is the cutback.
He was only averaging just better than 2 yards a carry coming into today's game. 1st and 10 at the 24. Moon. Complete to Drew Hill. Near the first down marker. Shy.
And now we're in the area of the field, JB, that the Oilers have had the most trouble with, and that is in the red zone. They're now inside the 20. And, you know, the run and shoot is a vertical offense. They like to stretch the defense up and down the field. They run out of field here inside the 20. Warren Moon said the challenge to the Oilers and every run and shoot team is to be able to transform this offense into a horizontal offense, stretch them sideways. They don't have the field to go vertical.
Houston's been inside the 20 quite frequently. 11 out of their last 15 possessions. 2nd and 4. Moon looking for Hill. Complete. Dropped it. Had it momentarily, bobbled it going out of bounds. And Warren Moon mentioned to you, Randy, this offense is potentially explosive.
And Drew Hill is the big player in this offense. See, Hill gets that thing. This is something they practice time after time after time in training camp. I think he should have had that ball. He should have held it. It almost looked like a sort of a neighborhood sort of a park league football where you go to try to slam it behind your back after you catch it and look good. He forgot to hold on to it.
Well, Drew Hill leads the AFC with 25 catches. 3rd and 4 from the 18. Dime defensive package in for the Niners. Moon with the long count, calls a timeout. Not before the play clock expired, so it'll be a 5-yard penalty against the Houston Oilers. Well, Moon said that, in fact, we will see varied counts in this game, Randy. Long counts as well as some short counts to try and get a read of what the San Francisco defense was going to do.
Exactly. And Warren Moon said the key to his offense today, or one of the keys, the many keys, is quick counts. Keep them guessing. Keep them off the line, out of balance. The Niners use a lot of guys up front. Nobody gets into the game and gets a rhythm going. You get quick counts, you can fool a lot of the linemen.
3rd and 9. A lot of time on this drive, 4.5 minutes plus. Moon decides to run it. And he slides in for the first down.
And we're going to see Warren Moon. He's going to come out this way. Watch the hole open up in the defense. He sees it, and as soon as he gets that back there and he knows they're in the zones and they're covering everybody, he's just going to start running. And this is a weapon Warren Moon featured in his game up in Canada with the Edmonton Eskimos for years. And when he first came to the Oilers, now he's a little bit more judicious about when he runs. He's more concerned about taking care of that very valuable body.
Ball is marked at the 13-yard line. It's a stoppage in play down on the field. Today's referee is Jerry Austin. And Randy, I guess the only thing they possibly could be reviewing is exactly where he started the slide or finished the slide for scrimmage person.
Where the slide started? You were working baseball earlier this week. They were worried about stuff like that. But this is going to, I think, be a very, very crucial possession for the Houston Oilers. The Houston Oilers want a touchdown here. If the Niners can hold them to 3 points, I think it's a moral victory for the San Francisco 49ers. They can look at it as a real plus. When you play the 49ers, you play the world champs, you better come away from these situations with touchdowns because they'll hurt you with field goals.
That's still sufficient yardage. First down.
And indeed, that's exactly what they were reviewing. Warren Moon got the necessary yardage with the slide.
Now here, watch the replay. It's where he initially goes down.
The knee there, that right knee.
Right, the knee hit on the 14-yard line, and that's where it was marked.
1st and 10 from the 14 of San Francisco. Still the opening drive of the Oilers. White at the 10. 4-yard run by Lorenzo White. Randy, I mentioned when I saw Lorenzo White at the Heisman Trophy presentation some 3 years ago, he looked to be a little slimmer. He's a lot bulkier now.
Well, he said he was 222. He's up to about 230 pounds. In fact, the coaches were going to start fining him. They said, "You're gaining weight. We don't want you gaining weight." He goes, "No, no, no, no. I'm lifting weights. More lifting in the weight room. I can't drop the weight. This is real weight. This is me."
Second down, 6.
Brings up a 2nd and 6 from the 10. Nearly a 7-minute drive by the Oilers. Moon, ball was right there for Ernest Gibbons, and talk about a timing pattern.
Exactly, and the timing was a split second off. And that's what's key in the red zone here. The timing of the run and shoot must be absolutely perfect. And there, Gibbons was not quite ready to turn around when the ball actually hit him on the hands as his head turned.
Had plagued Houston a lot in the early games, a lot of drop passes.
Well, they, as a matter of fact, against Pittsburgh, they were credited with 10. Jack Pardee and Gilbride, the offensive coordinator, told us it was actually 14 drop passes in that opening game.
13th play of the drive coming up here. 3rd and 6 from the 10. Complete. Down to the 1-yard line, Curtis Duncan. A 9-yard pass play from Moon to Duncan. And Warren Moon looking precision sharp here, Randy.
And the key to defending a run-and-shoot offense is to stay extremely poised, not guess, not try to wonder what they're going to do. Right now, the 49ers, and you see Darryl Pollard, 26, seem to be guessing on the receiver there that he was going to be breaking inside. Duncan didn't go inside. He broke out. You can't guess against the run-and-shoot.
7:45 remaining in the first quarter. And Eric Norgard, 6'1", 285, comes in as the back for the Oilers.
We have a review here. I think possibly they're reviewing exactly where the ball might have gone out. Not so much was it a spot on the half-yard line. Did the ball indeed cross the plane of the goal line, and is it a touchdown?
We saw Randy, his right foot was still in bounds.
And remember, it is the ball. It is not his foot.
George Slatke, the replay official.
After review by instant replay, the call stands. It'll be 1st and goal.
And one critical thing to remember about replay for everybody is that allegedly after the 2-minute time limit, if there's not something absolutely that can overturn the play on the call on the field, The replay official cannot overturn it. There was absolutely nothing that could have made him change that call.
First and goal from the 1. Moon, quarterback keeper. Touchdown, Houston. First rushing touchdown of the year for Warren Moon.
A great opening drive for the Houston Oilers, and defensive end Sean Jones told us on Friday, you know what the best defense the Houston Oilers have? Is our offense. Heck, last week against San Diego, we didn't get on the field till there was almost 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Here they drive, 7.5 minutes of the first quarter already gone, and the 49ers have not touched the ball.
Tony Zendejas, for the point after, has not enjoyed a good year with his foot as far as field goals are concerned. This one is good, the point after. So Houston strikes first and leads the defending champion 49ers 7-0. The opening drive for the Houston Oilers, a successful one, on top 7-0. And a happy bunch indeed. 14 plays, 65 yards, 7 minutes and 28 seconds, embellishing the point that you said Sean Jones made.
They came in saying we've got to run, we've got to control the ball, control the clock, and we get in the red zone, we've got to score. Mission accomplished, first drive.
Tony Zendejas for the Oilers. And Spencer Tillman from the end zone. Hit hard at about the 16-yard line. Smacked Glenn Montgomery.
Watch this touchdown. Childress is the tight end. You've got a guard in the backfield. But watch Smerlish right here get the penetration through Bruce Matthews, and a great individual effort by Warren Moon on the sneak. He will not be denied this touchdown. Jim Burt, number 64 for the 49ers, gets flown back into the end zone, 6 points.
So Joe Montana leads the 49ers on the field, 1st and 10 from their own 17. Rathman to the left. A yard or so. And Joe Montana, although having faced Houston only 3 times, those are 3-game stats, ladies and gentlemen. 70% completion rate, 7 touchdowns. The offensive front, Bubba Paris, Guy McIntyre, Jesse Sapolu, Harris Barton, Steve Wallace, and Brent Jones. The backs and receivers, Roger Craig and Tom Rathman. The wide receivers, Jerry Rice and John Taylor, back from a bruised lower back. 2nd and 8 for Montana and the Niners. 2 tight ends. Complete to Brent Jones. Pickup of maybe 2 only. And the defense that Montana will be operating against today, the ends. William Fuller and Sean Jones, the tackles. Ray Childress and Doug Smith. Linebacking core, John Grimsley gets a start. Al Smith, the middle linebacker. And Johnny Meads, the right linebacker. The secondary, Chris Dishman, not a quiet one, along with Richard Johnson. And the safeties, Bubba McDowell and ex-New York Giant Terry Kennard. 3rd and 6. 3 wideouts in for the Niners. Montana, pressure. Complete to Jones for the first down. There is a flag on the play as Montana found Brent Jones up near the 40-yard line.
The under 921 on the stop, a flag down.
A 17-yard pass play, and this looks to go against the Niners, so that'll bring them back.
And I believe what they're going to do is call Jones for pushing off.
Offensive pass interference, number 84, 10 yards, repeat 3rd down.
Brent Jones, an excellent receiver, and you thought when you first saw him, he could be anything but that.
Exactly. When he first came in as a free agent out of the University of Santa Clara, the guy has got a body that does not look like a professional football player. He's got very skinny legs. He runs like a wide receiver. He's got 4.5 speed. Now watch Jones come off the line of scrimmage, and the key to watch is he's going to push off the defender right about there is what they thought they saw when he pushed off. Maybe it happened further down the field.
And these legs aren't that skinny. They're bigger than mine. 3rd and 16.
That's my point.
Montana going up top. Is it intercepted? It is indeed. intended receiver was Jerry Rice, and Richard Johnson comes up with his second interception of the year.
What happened there? That was a timing pattern. Joe Montana was hurried, and it was not so much a great defensive play that Jerry Rice stumbles at the very end of the pattern. Watch as the ball comes out to the sideline. If we can see it, Jerry Rice will be stumbling. See him trip and fall right there? That ruined things for Jerry Rice. He fell, the ball was thrown behind him, and Johnson was right there.
That effect, Houston with a golden opportunity. Ball at the 30 of San Francisco. And Richard Johnson got his opportunity to start in the secondary for Houston because of the holdout of Patrick Allen. Johnson, a sixth-year player out of Wisconsin.
For Houston, they can't get greedy, they can't get overexcited. Stay with your game plan and move the ball effectively.
1st and 10 from the 30 of the Niners. Moon going up top for the home run. Touchdown, Houston. Drew Hill. Drew Hill with the second receiving touchdown of the year.
Well, they say offensive linemen are conservative by nature. I say be conservative, stay with your game plan. They go deep. No one covers Drew Hill. Ronnie Lott doesn't cover him. Griffin, number 29, doesn't get on him. Great call by the Houston coaches.
Zendejas on for the point after. And it's good. So the Oilers with the quick strike on their second possession. Warren Moon to Drew Hill. A 14-0 pad over the 49ers. Joe Montana looking at a 14-point deficit against the Houston Oilers. First quarter action, 5:15 remaining. Tony Zendejas on to kick off. And the deep man for the 49ers, Dexter Carter. It goes to Spencer Tillman from the 2. Tillman has daylight. Dragged down at the 30. And Spencer Tillman nearly broke it as Scott Kozak trips him. Well, the second scoring drive for the Oilers, a quick one indeed. One play, 30 yards, took all of 6 seconds.
And there you see offensive coordinator Kevin Gilbride in his second year here with the Houston Oilers doing a fabulous job. He's on the field, which is unusual for coordinator because he likes to communicate with Warren Moon. Warren's used to having him there. They work very, very well in a face-to-face situation.
1st and 10 from its own 31, San Francisco. Montana flushed out. Throws it complete to Jerry Rice.
You know, one thing that to be noted here, James, the 49ers are a little bit down right now. Houston can't get overexcited because the San Francisco 49ers, as Jack Pardee and Kevin Gilbride and Warren Moon pointed out to us, the 49ers go hard every single play as hard as they can till the last second of the game. They always assume somehow, some way, somewhere, we're going to beat you. Houston can't get overexcited. The Niners aren't anywhere close to being out of this.
12-yard pass play was good for the first down. Montana, 1st and 10 from his own 43. Play action. Montana looking for Rice again. And there's flags everywhere. Look to be pass interference. And Rice, frustrated, pushes one of the Houston cornerbacks down. Chris Dishman was the one trying to defend Jerry Rice. And Dishman got a little help from a teammate, and Rice pushed him down. Not to be messed with.
It was a silly, desperate move by Dishman, grabbing Rice and tackling him, and then it's just a more stupid move by Jerry, pushing him back in front of the referee. Now watch at the very end of the play, you'll see him all over Rice. The left hand, he is draped all over Rice. Now there's the flag. That's where you leave it. I could have thrown a flag from way up here and called that effectively. Now that's unnecessary.
Defensive pass interference, number 27, first down.
And Jerry Rice is very lucky he didn't get called there.
Well, they called it on Terry Kennard, the ex-Giant.
Which is funny because it was Richard Johnson, number 23, who was draped all over Jerry Rice.
Absolutely. First and 10 from the 36 of Houston. 4:28 remaining in the first quarter. Craig. Roger Craig turning it upfield. Pressure applied by Doug Smith. 3-yard gain by Roger Craig. Roger Craig has that, what appears to be fancy high-stepping moves, but Dexter Carter says he learned an awful lot watching Roger Craig about how he stays in shape running after he's gotten through the hole.
Exactly. Roger Craig is such a physical specimen, so highly conditioned. Very few people can run like that. Try running for about 10 seconds, keeping your knees that high. Roger can do that for hours, and it makes him very hard to bring down. You can't tackle a knee.
2nd and 7. 4 wides in. Montana throws it incomplete. Intended receiver was John Taylor.
Dishman 28 on the coverage for Houston.
And Roger Craig, for those of you out there that aren't aware of it, is 1 reception away from being the all-time leading pass catcher as a running back. He is currently tied with Walter Payton. So let's keep an eye on him, because you're about to see some NFL history. Sometime early in this game, they will throw a pass to Roger Craig.
Has the ultimate respect for Walter Payton. Hero indeed. 3rd and 7 from the 33 of Houston. Craig and Rathman the backs. Rice in motion. Montana dropped by Ray Childress. Ray Childress, the team leader in sacks, with 4.5 on the year with that one.
And a key matchup is Barton 79 against Childress, but he's not on Barton. He's over Sapolo 61, and he beats Sapolo very, very quickly. Childress is a legitimate all-pro defensive lineman who, now that they're in the 4-3, is having a great year as a defensive tackle instead of a 3-4 defensive end.
60-year vet out of Texas A&M, 6'6", 276. And the only label the coaches put on him, hard work. So Barry Helton comes on to punt. Gerald McNeil, Ice Cube, back for the Oilers. And this one goes out of bounds at the 5. So San Francisco does not capitalize. A 40-yard punt by Helton. It'll be Houston ball when we come back. The 60,000 plus on hand here at the Astrodome have reason early to be excited. Oilers on top of the 49ers, 14-0. 2:50 remaining in the first quarter. Oilers with their 3rd possession, starting from their own 4. White hit hard by Ronnie Lott after a 4-yard gain. And the Oilers scored on their opening drive. Warren Moon took it the length of the field with the team and went over from 1. And then one play on their 2nd possession after an interception, Moon found Drew Hill 30-yard strike, and the Oilers on top 14-0. 2nd and 6. And the numbers tell the story. Moon. Incomplete. Good defensive play by Don Griffin. The intended receiver was Gerald McNeil, 5th-year player out of Baylor. Oiler players really speak highly of this little fellow, Gerald McNeil, and I guess I can call him little at 5'8", 144, but they say he's fearless, Randy.
Well, they say the tough thing about him, a little guy expects him to be fast and run the deep patterns and all that. They say McNeil loves to go inside. The young wide receivers, the big guys look at him and go, how can you do that? How can you go in there? They're going to go inside. They're going to hit you. If you catch it, they're going to hit you anyway.
You think he'll learn better? 3rd and 6. Moon trying to pull them offside. Throws it to White. There's a flag on the play as Lorenzo White gets it up near the 15-yard line. Tackled hard by Charles Haley, but there is a flag on the play.
Offside defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
Warren Moon doing what he said he would do in terms of his counts Trying to get a read, but he got an additional benefit that time.
Watch the effect that a good snap count can have on a line. He's got all three of the defensive linemen jumping and moving. He even had a safety, Greg Cox, number 38, jumping offside.
And Pierce Holt with the happy feet that time offside. 1:37 remaining in the first quarter. Oilers on top, 14 zip. First and 10 from their own 15. White drags his way forward for about 2.
Offensive line coach Bob McKittrick on the sideline, charting the problems for the 49er offensive line. He's very concerned, obviously, about the camera being behind him. He doesn't want to show anybody what he's drawing on that board.
The clock continues to wind down. Stopped at the 102 mark as Jerry Austin wants to have the play clock reset back to 25 seconds. George Seifert, head coach of the 49ers.
But George Seifert said he wasn't very concerned about having the off week and being an emotional letdown for his team. He says, we're used to it with the playoffs for the Super Bowl. We usually get a week off. But his team seems to be a little flat and lacking just that little sharp game timing you get from playing every week.
2nd and 9 for Moon and the Oilers. Moon gets rid of it. Was he in the grass? No call. And not much of a gain, only 2 yards on the play.
That in the grass call is pretty much up to the referee, whoever's working the game. It's his interpretation. We got a game last week with Detroit and Green Bay, JB, where Pete got grabbed by the shirt, was under no control whatsoever, and they called that in the grass. Here, Warren Moon's legs were wrapped up, and that wasn't grasping control.
Take a look at the clock winding down. That will be the end of the first quarter as Warren Moon, awfully impressive in the first quarter as he directs the Oilers to a 14-point lead over the 49ers. $60,502 on hand. They're expecting a bit more with standing room only crowd, trying to get the biggest crowd ever to watch the Oilers play here. And what the crowd is seeing right now, an impressive Warren Moon having directed the troops to a 14-0 lead.
Well, they came to see 2 offenses. Right now they're only seeing 1. Houston has 114 yards total offense. The 49ers have 7.
Houston's offense ranked number 2 in the NFL, number 1 in the AFC. 3rd and 7 for the Oilers. Ball at their own 18. Moon out of the shotgun. Goes up top. Incomplete, just beyond the outstretched hands of Leonard Harris. And Harris with daylight ahead of him.
For Harris. Incomplete. 4th down, Houston.
And you know, Harris drops his ball. Watch White, number 44, come across. Don Griffin has got a corner blitz on. That's one of the things that enables Harris to get here wide open. Ronnie Lott, number 42, seems to be late again, coming across to help Eric Davis, the rookie, number 25.
Greg Montgomery on to punt, leads the AFC. And the NFL's fewest punts. And John Taylor back to receive for the 49ers. Surprised because he was not expected to return punts.
They weren't expected to be down 14-0 either.
Point well made. Taylor from the 42. Dropped at the 42. Give the credit to Leander Knight, a 40-yard punt. Nothing on a return.
26 Orlando assisting on the stop.
And Levander Knight, number 21, complaining to the referee about John Taylor's straight arm, a technique that the 49ers have seemed to have adopted this year. Between Rathman and Taylor, they're sticking their arms in people's faces at a rather rapid clip. Now watch the left hand. Now, they're not calling John Taylor for that face mask. They're talking Knight, number 21, for grabbing the face mask almost in retaliation.
Well, Leander Knight picks up the penalty. Frisco hoping to pick up the scoring.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by the new generation of Oldsmobiles. Step into the future now at your Oldsmobile dealer. Levi's 505 and 506 jeans, and by United Airlines, serving over 200 cities in the U.S. and around the world. Come fly the friendly skies.
Certainly that would be symbolic of how well San Francisco has been scoring in general. Sputtering right now, trailing 14-0 to Houston.
Well, they pretty much have their rockets moving in most of the games they've played this year. But one of the things we haven't seen much from San Francisco early in the year has been things they usually keep people off guard with. Reverses, reverse passes, gimmick plays. They haven't been in the offense.
1st and 10 from its own 48. Craig. And Roger Craig running hard. Same high-stepping movement, 6-yard gain by Roger Craig. And I guess as an Easterner, you just corrected me, it is San Francisco always, JB.
Every time I leave the Bay Area, it never changes. People say, well, that Frisco team. I say, well, which one is that? Where is that place? Anyway, it's San Francisco.
Point well taken. 2nd and 4 to Craig. And Craig for the first down. And with that reception, now moves past Walter Payton as the all-time career receiving leader, 4 back.
And this is the way the Niners want to move the ball down the field. That's why Roger Craig has so many receptions with the 49ers. They want to move it not only running the ball, but they love to throw it and flip it out of the backfield to running back. Roger Craig, last year Tom Rathman, but nobody is more dangerous in the open field when you get him around defensive backs than Roger Craig.
1st and 10 from the 41 of Houston. Craig. 1st down to the 28-yard line. So Roger Craig starting to uncork. San Francisco had an anemic running game coming into today. Roger Craig with a 13-yard run on that one.
27, Kennard.
The place that's most vulnerable in a 4-3 defense is right here in this little box. You get block backs by the center, and it can open up some gaping holes, and the rest of the run you're going to see is going to be Roger Craig and that typical high blocking. There goes Sapolo back, McIntyre around. Look at the hole in the defense. You better get your head up when you tackle Roger Craig, or you're going to catch a knee right in the forehead and take a little nap for a while.
3 carries for 22 yards as Roger Craig heads over to the sidelines.
And he told me yesterday his hip's bothering him a little bit. He's got a muscle situation.
So Rathman on 1st and 10 takes it and bulls his way ahead for 5 yards. Randy, I found it interesting. You said you thought the key for San Francisco, not the big names of Montana, Rice, and Taylor, but Rathman.
I think Rathman was a guy that not carried their offense last year, but made them very, very special. He had all the receptions out of the backfield. He carried in the crucial situations. And the reason the Niners were so dominant last year on offense, I think, was Tom Rathman and the emergence of John Taylor as a star wide receiver.
Dexter Carter in the backfield along with Rathman on 2nd and 5. This is Carter. Shakes loose, but can't get free as Terry Kennard greets him and smacks him. Loss of 1 on the play. And you talked about Craig's hip. Indeed, he is limping.
It's been bothering him the last couple of weeks. And, you know, people figure this guy's indestructible. Dexter Carter says, look, I'm backing up a guy that hasn't missed a game in 7 years. It's been 110 straight games for Roger Craig. As you see him examining his leg, it would appear to be his knee that right now they're taking a look at.
Harry Sidney in at running back for the 49ers on 3rd and 6. Incomplete. Out of bounds as Jerry Rice catches it, but out of bounds. Rice trying to plead his case. As you heard the official saying, do you think he had it down?
Do you think he got it down? And when they say that down, they're referring to the 2nd foot. No doubt Jerry probably gets the first foot down, but let's watch the 2nd foot after the reception. 1, he's got the ball. Does he get the 2nd?
Ooh.
Easily. If they review this, that is a catch. 1 more time. Johnson's got pretty good position. 1 foot, 2 foot. And the officials have declared that that was a catch. The ball does move down.
Jerry Rice knew he had the second foot in. Both feet inbounds, and the officials agreed. So San Francisco, with a 15-yard pass play, first down, ball inside the 10, marked at the 9. So it'll be first and goal, ball at the 9 with 10:15 remaining in the first half. Carter and Rathman, the backs. Carter spins ahead for about 2. Roger Craig, twisted right knee is the word on Roger Craig, but we do expect to see him back in action.
That's the orthopedic surgeon for the 49ers on the bench that's sitting next to him, Michael Dillingham, who I think is very, very high quality. I have to think he's great. He's operated on me a couple of times.
You do have a zipper down there on that knee, don't you?
You get a guy that's been virtually indestructible. It's always curious to see how he reacts once he gets hit. Will he run as free and easy once he gets dinged?
Second and goal. Montana with time. And Jerry Rice, touchdown, San Francisco. Well, you can't rest on your laurels when you're playing the 49ers. Montana, with all kinds of time, finds Jerry Rice being defended by Chris Dishman.
The offensive line did a fine job of protecting Joe Montana. And Joe Montana, all he did what probably, I think, no other quarterback does better or has ever done better. Watch how coolly he will stand back here. Him, nah, him, nah. I'll throw it to this guy over here. Quarterbacks get nervous. Quarterbacks get jittery. Not Joe Montana. He hangs in until he gets hit or he finds an open man.
And Michael Kofer comes on for the point after. The holder, Barry Helton, and it's good. So San Francisco narrows the gap, trailing by just a touchdown. And with just over 9 minutes remaining in the first half, 49ers trailing the Houston Oilers 14-7. Warren Moon, 1 touchdown throwing and rushing. Joe Montana just found Jerry Rice with a 6-yard strike. And the score is 14-7. And Randy, I guess we've seen it so many times, and you've been out there on that line and have experienced it. You can't rest when you're playing the 49ers, no matter what the lead.
You got to keep your cool, got to keep your composure. If you're fighting a heavyweight fight, if you hit the champ twice, the fight isn't over. And when he hits you, it isn't over. Keep your game plan and keep your cool.
High kick from the 8, McNeil. And McNeil gets it up near the 25. So Houston will take over with 9:11 remaining, up by 7. That's Roger Craig with the right knee wrapped.
And there's nothing more challenging in an athlete's career, really, is the first time you get dinged when you're on a roll. Roger's had a slightly dislocated hip. He's had other injuries. He's a guy that can always come back from an injury. Here's a challenge. A knee is vital to a running back.
First and 10 from the 25. 4 wideouts in for the Oilers. Moon out of the shotgun. Complete to Bernard Ford for the first down, up near the 40. And Warren Moon with that 14-yard pass to Ford, spreading the ball around as he's done throughout the 4 games.
He always does that now in the run and shoot. Initially, people wanted to talk about Duncan and Givens and Jeffries and everybody. They use all 8 of their wide receivers. They use their running backs. Warren Moon has become very, very adept, a la Joe Montana, of getting his passes to everybody to make it a ball control offense. You don't have to run the ball to be a ball control offense.
3rd catch of the season for Bernard Ford. Alan Pinkett in at the running back spot. 3 wide receivers to the near side. Pinkett. And Pinkett hit low. Picks up only a yard on the play.
And that was a great play by Charles Haley, number 94. They call him a linebacker. They say, well, Charles Haley, our left outside linebacker, he's a defensive end, folks. That guy is made to rush the quarterback. He's quick, he's strong, and on that particular play, he came out and just cut down the lead blocker and got the running back at the same time on a run. And that's one of the reasons why he's going to be a Pro Bowler for quite a few years to come. The guy is aggressive and smart.
2nd and 9. Drew Hill in motion. Trips right. Boom. Incomplete intended receiver was Drew Hill, who was at midfield. Now, Randy, I'm not sure if Drew Hill had a case of the alligator arms there, but he was surrounded by a few 49ers.
Now, from the look on Warren Moon's face, it was kind of like, not you too. I mean, that's Mr. Reliable. That's the guy that catches everything. Drew Hill rarely will drop a ball. So like we mentioned earlier, drops have been a real problem because they're trying to have a ball control type of offense with the pass and this run and shoot. Drops will absolutely stifle you completely.
Alan Pinkett still in the backfield. 3rd and 9. Moon has to run and dives head first, but shy of the first down by about a yard. He looked like a courageous run by the near 34-year-old quarterback.
He looked like he was diving head first, and all of a sudden it popped into Warren's mind, what in the heck am I doing diving head first on this AstroTurf? And he goes into a tuck and roll and will come up just short. But it's an element Warren has to his game. He's very, very fast, moves well, and is also very smart. He ducked to avoid Ronnie Lott, who, though a very good friend, would not have let up on him a second.
As a matter of fact, Warren Moon asked Ronnie Lott on Moon's TV show earlier this week, will you hurt me if you get out there? Lott was diplomatic and didn't answer directly, but you know he meant yes. And the play clock expires. That'll push him back 5 yards.
You know, no defensive player is going to try to hurt anybody on offense. The whole terminology is hurt is wrong. We get the call here from the referee.
Delay of game, offense, 5 yards, still 4th down.
But the whole point behind, you know, the hurt idea is not to physically harm them. It's to put a hurting on them. You put a hurting on them is when that head snaps back and the body, the air goes out of the lungs. That's putting a hurting on them. Nobody wants to hurt somebody.
I wish people could see the smile on your face as you're saying this.
Well, I usually dove in the back of people's legs to hurt somebody.
All right, now it's going to be the leg of Greg Montgomery on to punt for the Oilers. John Taylor back for the 49ers. And Taylor decides to let it roll into the end zone. So San Francisco will bring it out to the 20. A 57-yard punt. San Francisco trailing by a touchdown with 6:22 remaining in the first half. And coming up tonight, prime time, the Red Sox will try to bounce back from Game 1 loss to the Oakland A's that you saw, of course. And tomorrow, the Cincinnati Reds and Pittsburgh Pirates in Game 3. That will come your way at 3 o'clock Eastern Time right here on CBS. 1st and 10 for San Francisco from its own 20. Complete to Taylor. And Taylor with the 5-yard pass reception will bring up a 2nd and 5. We're live from the Astrodome here in Houston, Texas. James Brown along with Randy Cross. 65,000 plus on hand. And Houston leading San Francisco 14-7. 5:45 remaining in the first half. And Randy, any surprises through this part of the game?
Well, if you're a San Francisco 49er fan, you're surprised that the Oiler offense has controlled the ball the majority of this quarter and a half.
Dexter Carter in motion. Craig, the ball carrier. Ahead for maybe one.
And Roger Craig feeling no ill effects, obviously, from that right knee. The only ill effects he felt right there were from that entire middle of the Oiler defense that stuffed him right where he tried to run.
Al Smith, the middle linebacker out of Utah State, did a good job on that play for the Oilers, and Jack Pardee very pleased with the play of Al Smith. 3rd and 4 from the 26. First down for the 49ers as Roger Craig make that Joe Montana finds Jerry Rice. A 19-yard pass play from Montana to Rice.
And the Niners were very lucky they didn't get a holding call right there on Harris Barton, because as he lost Ray Childress, he and Jesse Sapolo watching the middle of the screen. 79 is Childress. Barton puts a little arm on him. Sapolo throws him down. The officials don't see it. And Rice makes this. He's kind of tripped up on the AstroTurf. He's complaining. See, he got his neck twisted around a little bit, and he's left the game for a little short breather.
Rice, 4 catches for 52 yards. He now is in 2nd place in receiving yards list for the 49ers. Complete to Taylor. And is it a live ball? No, the official is pointing to the ground. It's a dead ball. Dead ball as the official is pointing to the ground. 3-yard pass play for the 49ers. Richard Johnson knocked it loose.
And the Niners believed in Johnson, number 23, and Dishman, number 28. They had corners that played soft. Look how far off Johnson is here. But watch how fast he fills once he sees this pass coming. Makes a very effective tackle. Stops the forward progress. What is called, he's not being called down. He's being called that his forward progress had been stopped. The referee blew the play dead, and that's why you saw him pointing at the ground. That's where he was marking the ball.
So it brings up a 2nd and 7 with 3:30 remaining, and the play clock expires. The 49ers will be penalized and move back 5. Make it 2nd and 12.
I can tell you from personal experience, having been in that particular offense in the past, when you had longer to call a play, the Niners have always run down to the last couple of seconds trying to get a play off. Now with less time, down to 25 seconds, it's got to be a real challenge to get the play called, signaled in, play called in the huddle, and get to the line of scrimmage.
Ball now back at the 43 of San Francisco, 2nd and 12. Harry Sidney, the back. And the clock down again. So Montana, 2 straight delay of game calls.
This can be a thing. Not only are you losing 10 yards, mentally it can start to affect you. You start to hurry a little bit, and it starts to knock off your confidence in your timing. Not your confidence in your ability, but your confidence in, well, hey, why can't they get plays in from the sideline for us to run?
Now 2nd and 17. They need to get to the 45 of Houston for a 1st down. Complete to Mike Wilson. And they're going to be shy by about 5 yards.
And Mike Wilson, number 85, I think, is one of the true quality wide receivers in 49er history. People want to talk about Dwight Clark. They want to talk about Jerry Rice and John Taylor, and all those guys are great wide receivers, all the way back to the Billy Wilsons. But this guy's been with the team 10 years, and I think he's the guy that made one of the biggest catches in the organization's history late in the 4th quarter against Cincinnati in Super Bowl 16.
3rd and 5 from midfield. Montana gets rid of it under pressure. Rice catches it, but out of bounds. And Matt Millen calmly trying to argue the case.
Well, he's got to expend his energy somehow, because he isn't going to see a lot of playing time today against a run and shoot where they really highlight the pass. And you see Charles Haley. Now there's a switch. Charles Haley telling somebody else to relax, because Charles Haley is a very emotional, uptight guy. And there's John Marshall, the defensive line coach, telling Matt Millen to settle down. They got a little problem with Matt Millen right now. There's Tommy Hart, the defensive line coach, talking to Matt Millen.
My gosh.
He might be in red and white, but he's still an Oakland Raider. Not an LA Raider. He's an Oakland Raider. Talk about getting fired. You expect to see that from somebody who's on the field stuffing a goal line stand.
Heaven helps
But this is over a catch. And Jerry Rice catches the ball. No, that 2nd foot does not get in. The 1st foot he dragged, but the 2nd foot does not get down. Not like the last one he did on the sideline. The ball will get there. One won't do it. This isn't Mississippi Valley State where Jerry came from. He had 2 down just as the ball was arriving, but you must have control and then get 2 down.
And the play is obviously being reviewed. And keep in mind, a 2-minute limit once the umpire signals that the play is being reviewed.
It's worth another look. See if, does he have control here? If he's got control, they got an angle where they can show control. At that point where the ball hits his hands, that's a catch.
Replay, the call stands, incomplete pass, 4th down.
Well, Matt Millen will say he got the top piece of the carpet with the toes. Randy, heaven helps if he gets in the game. Helton punting to Gerald McNeil, who lets it go over his head. Touchback, so the Oilers will bring it out to the 20, a 50-yard punt.
50 yards on the
2:36 remaining. Houston on top, 14-7. The only way to start your football Sunday off is with the NFL Today, the last word right before kickoff. And then next Sunday, it'll be doubleheader action coming your way. San Francisco at Atlanta, Green Bay at Tampa Bay, and Detroit at Kansas City. In the second half of doubleheader, New York Giants at Washington, Dallas at Phoenix. That'll all be coming your way next week right here on CBS. And that Giants-Washington matchup, we talked to Joe Gibbs a few weeks ago when we did the Redskins, and long weary of the Giants.
That's right. He was aiming at that game 2 weeks back. They figure, hey, we're going to have a week off. We've got to get ready for the Giants. We'll have 2 weeks to do it. We can rest, because every time those two teams play, it is physical.
Stan Humphries has come in for Mark Rippon, the injured starting quarterback, and has done quite well, as has Joe Montana and Warren Moon. Oilers first and 10 from their own 20. Moon rolling right, takes it himself, and smartly this time runs out of bounds. Charles Haley was right there to lend a little verbal assistance.
It was a good play by the Oilers. They faked a quick trap inside, pulling Bruce Matthews, the right guard, and faking a handoff to Pinkett, number 20, the running back. And Moon just went out to the right on a naked boot, I think looking for a guy to be dragging back from the other side. So far, after the first 2 drives, Houston sputtered a little bit on offense. I think you have to give the credit to the 49er defense. They've stopped guessing, and they've made a couple of adjustments and tightened the screws down on Warren Moon and the Oilers just a little bit.
8-yard run by Moon brings up 2nd and 2. Ball at the Oilers 28. 2:03 remaining in the first half. Pinkett. And Pinkett looks to have the first down. Charles Haley with the stop. And we're at the 2-minute mark as Alan Pinkett, a young man from Sterling, Virginia, and Notre Dame, gives the Oilers a first down. Under 2 minutes remaining here in the first half at the Astrodome. Houston on top of San Francisco by a touchdown. Both teams with the full complement of timeouts remaining, 3 apiece. And Randy, as you look at Houston, do they really have a 2-minute offense?
A 2-minute. They are in perpetual 2-minute offense. They're on 2-minute offense from the first gun to the final gun.
1st and 10 from the 31 of Houston. Moon. Incomplete. The comeback route that time run by Curtis Duncan, but out of bounds.
And it was a good job by Duncan adjusting to Warren Moon, because what the Oilers wanted to do there, they wanted to throw a screen, and the Niners read it perfectly. 1 foot, the other one does not get down. Sorry, maybe next time, Curtis.
I tell you, but I'm impressed with how the receivers are well aware of that and trying to get that 2nd foot in, but I guess you need to be a...
That's why they pay him the big bucks, baby.
And this play looks to be in the process of being reviewed. And the clock starts 5 seconds ago.
What we
George
saw earlier,
getting quite a bit of workout today. Excuse me, Randy.
What we saw earlier today was the Oilers were going into the middle zones, behind the linebackers and in front of the defensive backs. They haven't done that since the first possession. But we saw Duncan earlier. He gets the 1st foot down. The 2nd foot never does get down.
After review of instant replay, the call stands. Incomplete pass. 2nd down.
But we mentioned about the Niners tightening their defense down a little bit. If they've tightened down the defense in any specific spot, it's been in that crack, those zones areas between the defensive backs and the linebackers where the Oilers were getting earlier. They're not getting those receivers through their 3 anymore.
You need more of a pad than 7 points against the 49ers. 2nd and 10. Complete to Gibbons. And Gibbons, good, squeaky kind of a move. And the 2nd effort gets the first down. And I guess squeaky would apply to someone 5'9", 172.
So you play with wide receivers of that kind of ability, I don't care how big they are, they refer to them as Mr. Gibbons.
Mr. Gibbons. And Mr. Gibbons has given them a first down, 1st and 10 from the 41. Another first down to Mr. Gibbons.
And what the 49ers are doing right now, they seem to be almost in a prevent defense. They're dropping back and giving him now the underneath. The linebackers and the underneath people have sucked back to the point where they're giving the Oilers the stuff inside. Now watch Givens come out of the inside slot here. Number 81, going working against Don Griffin, 79, breaks off. Griffin points like, you got him. I don't know if he's talking to Jack Pardee on the sideline, but Jack isn't going to cover him. John's got to get over there and get a hold of Givens.
3 catches for 27 yards for Givens. Trips left formations. 1:15 remaining. Pinkett dragged down by Kevin Fagan after only a 2-yard gain, and a timeout called by the Oilers. So the Oilers will have 2 timeouts remaining, trying to put some more points on the board when we come back. With 1:10 remaining in the second quarter, Houston 14, San Francisco 7. And Randy, you got to think that Houston's trying to get in the field goal range of Tony Zendejas, but what is that field goal range for him?
Well, for Tony Zendejas, as long as you see 34 yards, that means that the Houston Oilers have to get down to about the 17-yard line from where they are right now, which is they have to gain another 30 yards to get in a field goal range. That's not right.
2nd and 8. Moon loses the ball, recovered by Houston. So Moon under pressure as Charles Haley got in there and got a piece of the ball, but Alan Pinkett, the quick one, recovered. 1:01 remaining.
And Warren Moon looks to be trying to pump fake, spin, and go for a run all at the same time. It's kind of like the average person, like a lineman like me, chewing gum and walking at the same time can be a little tough. Now watch him feel the pressure and then try to make this spin move and a pump fake at the same time. Up, here I go, and there goes the ball. Luckily for Houston, Pickett was right there on his blitz pickup looking for a linebacker and happened to fall on the ball.
It appears as if San Francisco has called a timeout, and if that's the case, they have 2 remaining as well as Houston.
But going back to Zendejas and his field position and his range, the Oilers, by losing that yardage there, are now forced to look at least 25 yards downfield as far as a gain here on 3rd and 17. They've got to get the ball down the field.
Zendejas, mentioned before, his best this year thus far, 34 yards. His career best is a 52-yarder, but he is really struggling. And Jack Pardee said, I'm going to stay with him because I know the guy's history.
And the Niners are aware of Zendejas' history. They called that timeout thinking, let's stop him on 4th down, make him punt, we'll get the ball back.
3rd and 17. Flags on a play as Moon appeared to have drawn him off sides. Intercepted. Is that Dave Waymer? But there are flags on the play as Waymer loses the ball temporarily but recovers it. But it looks like the Niners were offsides on that play.
Defense, offside, 1 yard, still 3rd down.
So a break for the Oilers.
And it was somebody right over the center, over the nose. You'd think in that situation, 3rd and long, we're talking about Carter or Brown. But watch right here, over the center, over Jay Pennison. Actually, that's Dawson, number 66 at center. What exactly is going to happen? Yep, that's big Fred Smerlis, number 76, the former Buffalo Bill, jumping off sides. And there's Dave Waymer getting his 3rd interception of the year. He had 2 in the last game against Atlanta. But watch him drop the ball. Almost turns a great positive that he thought was a positive into a negative. You got to wrap that ball up when you make a big play.
2nd and 12. Ball at the 49 of San Francisco. 50 seconds remaining. Moon has his arm hit as he tries to go forward with it. And again, Pierce Holt helping to contribute to the pressure.
Good pressure. He got in there just as Warren Moon was bringing his arm forward to pass it. Pierce Holt got one of those big paws onto his forearm and stopped his arm dead in its track. That's the kind of thing you see if it ever happens in practice. Whoever does that to your quarterback in practice is usually given the day off, if not the rest of the year off. You hate to see a quarterback get hit in the arm like that. He's got all that momentum working and can really injure an elbow.
Greg Montgomery on the punt for the Oilers. Don Taylor back for San Francisco. Flag on the play back near the kicker. We'll see what that flag is all about.
As fast as it went down, you'd think it'd have to be either a quick offsides or somebody got downfield immediately that didn't belong there.
Looks to be procedure against the Oilers.
I don't think he
Illegal
takes this.
formation of the offense. Not enough in on the line of scrimmage. Penalty is declined. First down, San Francisco.
That'll do it.
And if you don't take that penalty, I think it's smart not taking that penalty. Why give the team another chance to kick down and pin you inside the 20? Now they get the ball on the 20-yard line instead of like on the 10.
Don't forget, coming up at halftime from New York, Greg Gumbel and Terry Bradshaw will bring you up to date with all the scores and highlights from around the NFL. That'll be coming up in just a few. NFL Today halftime show. San Francisco and Houston both with 2 timeouts remaining. And 37 seconds remaining in the first half.
Now's not the time to relax on San Francisco. They're just going to fall on the ball.
Some things just don't leave you, huh?
When I was still playing, the 49ers played a game in St. Louis. We did exactly like that, but Joe Montana hit a knee, then popped up and went to throw a bomb downfield. Didn't make many friends with Jim Hanifin and the St. Louis Cardinals at that time.
Well, the players leave the field as the clock continues to wind down. As Jack Pardee saw his team start strong. So that's the end of the first half with the score. Oilers 14, 49ers 7.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers, where you get the advantage. MCI, let us show you. And by Bud Light, everything else is just a light.
Back to our New York studios, everyone. A reminder, Game 2 of the American League Championship Series comes your way tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time here on CBS. The A's ran away with Game 1 last night. The Red Sox hoping to regroup. Here with a report, Jim Gray, joined by Oakland catcher Terry Steinbach.
Thank you very much, Greg. With me now, Terry Steinbach, catcher of the Oakland A's. And Terry, the big victory last night. Get up this morning, this afternoon, everybody's talking about an A's sweep. How do you guard against overconfidence?
I just think, you know, in the playoffs, anything can happen. And we have to do what we've done all season. That's play it one game at a time. So going into tonight's game, we're just going to concentrate on trying to get some runs on the board early. And hopefully Bobby can keep the lead for us.
Terry, it seemed as though you guys just allowed the Red Sox to hang around for about 7 or 8 innings, just kind of wearing them down. Was that the case?
Definitely. You know, when you go against a quality pitcher like Roger Clemens, the idea is to battle him every at-bat, you know, try to make him throw a lot of pitches, try to have good ABs, and then sometime in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, maybe 9th inning, he'll make a mistake. He'll allow you guys to get a couple runs across the plate.
Jose Canseco finally came out and said it a couple of days ago. The Oakland A's are a dynasty. Do his teammates concur?
I don't know. It's, you know, personally speaking, I think it's too early to tell. I think if we meet back here 5 or 6 years from right now, we can look back, then I think we might be able to answer that question.
Terry, thanks for joining us. We look forward to Game 2 coming up tonight. Let's go back to our studios and Greg Gumbel.
Jim. All right, Jim Gray, thank you very much. And a reminder, once again, baseball coming your way tonight at 8 Eastern Time here on CBS. Greg Gumbel along with Terry Bradshaw. Let's get you back to football now. At halftime of the game in Houston, the Oilers leading the San Francisco 49ers by a score of 14-7. If you were with us in the pregame, Terry Bradshaw predicted an Oiler victory over the 49ers today, and so far, it isn't looking too bad for the Oilers.
Now, Gregory.
Richard Johnson stepping in front of this Joe Montana pass and picks it off as Jerry Rice stumbled before the ball got there. And then they had lots to cheer about. Warren Moon for 30 yards.
Ronnie Lott got nose trouble. He was watching Warren Moon, the quarterback. Moon looking to the right, pull Lott out of the way, allowing the receiver to get behind him for the reception.
Meanwhile, the Houston defense doing a number on Joe Montana. Ray Childress getting the sack there. But Montana comes right back with a quick pass here to Roger Craig. This marks the all-time record for receptions by a running back. Roger Craig with his 493rd, eclipsing Walter Payton's old mark, and then Montana to Jerry Rice.
Oh, this is something you never see. What a great job by the offensive line of the 49ers. You never give a quarterback chance to go 1 receiver, 2 receiver, 3 receiver. Montana had all day long, Rice all the way from the right to the left, Montana plenty of time to find him and get the touchdown.
Meanwhile, New Orleans at Atlanta. This is an NFC Western Division game, and the Saints, with a field goal, have taken the lead over the Atlanta Falcons 17-14 as that game approaches halftime. John Forcade down 7-0, goes long. 68 yards to Floyd Turner. Good first half for Forcade. One touchdown running, another one throwing. That pulled the Saints into a 7-7 tie, but then Chris Miller comes back looking for Sean Collins.
Watch what happens. Collins gets ahead of the defensive cornerback, who forces himself into a trail position. When you do that, your back is turned, Greg, and all the quarterback has to do is just throw it out there because this guy cannot cover, and Collins makes a great catch reaching over and making the reception.
That game has just gone to the half now, and the Saints with a 3-point lead. Meanwhile, the New York Jets at halftime leading Miami 13-0, and that game has now gone to the third quarter. Kansas City is at Indianapolis, and the Chiefs lead the Colts by 3 as they approach halftime. Halftime score at Dallas, the Cowboys leading Tampa Bay 7-3. Third quarter just underway in that game. Detroit and Minnesota at halftime, the Vikings lead it by 10. San Diego and Pittsburgh, the Steelers counted two offensive touchdowns.
Can I have an amen on that?
You say hallelujah, Terry. It's 17-7. Steelers lead as they begin the third quarter over San Diego, and Seattle leading New England 19-10 at the break. And the NFL today will continue here on CBS. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
After this word from your local station.
Back here at halftime at the Astrodome, the Houston Oilers lead the San Francisco 49ers 14-7. And Randy, the first 2 possessions by the Oilers, quick strike capability on one of those. They go up 14-0. Again, impressive how the 49ers adjusted.
Exactly, and it's one of the things both these offenses have to do is they have to keep being challenged. They have to adjust to what the defenses are doing. It's very key for Houston to really have resiliency, to bounce back, to stay flexible, because San Francisco is used to being in games like this. They'll hang, they'll do something, they'll win it at the end. Houston has to be poised, and the team in front, they have to stay with their game plan. So far, surprisingly, it started out big offense early. Only 260 total yards between these two teams. The defenses have taken control into the second quarter of this game.
Well, you talk statistics. They started off definitely in favor of Houston in the first quarter, but San Francisco came back strong. Not big rushing yards on either side of the ledger. Passing yards favoring Houston. Total yards, you see, again in favor of Houston, but the time of possession, San Francisco went from 4 minutes time of possession in the first quarter to 14 by the end of the first half.
And probably the biggest play of the second half, after a Richard Johnson interception, watch Hill, number 85, come out of the slot. The Niners seem to drop a coverage because Hill runs right up the stripes there, and no one helps. Griffin doesn't come from the outside, Lott doesn't come from the inside, and Drew Hill has an easy touchdown reception. At that point, the Oilers were up 14-0.
And again, that gives you some idea of the quick strike capability of the Houston Oilers. And of course, we all know how quick strike the 49ers are.
That's not a conventional pocket. The pocket's behind Montana. He has the poise and the presence to stay there till somebody gets open. And Jerry Rice, along the same lines, works with Joe beautifully, hangs in there, works across the field, gets in front of his quarterback, and gets his touchdown.
Looking at it from the Houston Oilers side of the ledger, what's important for them to do and execute in this the second half?
The key for them, don't do anything different. You might want to adjust your offense a little bit, tinker a little bit. Don't have drop passes. Critical, do not have a turnover at this point. Turnovers by Houston to San Francisco could blow this game wide open. If you're Houston, you want to keep doing what you're doing, which has kept you in a 7-point touchdown lead.
You've been there before, and I'm reminded of what Dexter Carter, the rookie, said at halftime. The guys aren't down no matter what the score is. And at halftime, the San Francisco 49ers find themselves trailing, but just by a touchdown. Downtown Houston, Texas, a revitalized Houston, Texas, and a strong performance in the first half by that young man there, Warren Moon, leading the Oilers to a 14-7 lead over Joe Montana and company. And Randy, going back to a point you made at the top of the show, of course, the 49ers love traveling on the road, have no problems, have won 11 straight. A victory today will establish a new NFL record, and that 12 straight will be during the regular season. If you count postseason play,
it'll go to 50.
Indeed.
But we made a point earlier in the top of the game that the Oilers couldn't afford any turnovers, or if they did, very, very few. Well, sorry, Houston, you're past the point where you can have any turnovers. They might have been able to afford one early. From here on out, Houston cannot create opportunities for San Francisco. If they expect to win this game and hang in here, They have got to make San Francisco earn everything. They can't give it to them.
Jack Party's troops had 14, most in the NFL coming into today. None in the first half. If you take a look at Roger Craig, talk about great limberness, my goodness.
Make a wish. Jeez, Roger Craig is more flexible than most any back. That's why this guy can take these kind of shots. The conditioning program, the masseuse, the chiropractor, the weightlifting, running up the hills. He's incredible.
Pays dividends. Tony Zendejas leading off for the Oilers. And Tillman decides to down it, touchback, so the 49ers will operate from their own 20. First and 10 to start the second half. Little friendly playing that time between Tillman and Eric Thayer, linebacker for the Oilers. Joe Montana on for the second half. And the word cool definitely applies to him. Two tight ends in, Brent Jones and Jamie Williams. Jamie Williams, the ex-Houston Oiler. Roger Craig, the lone back. Montana with time, complete to Jamie Williams across the middle. So Jamie Williams, alias Spider-Man, returning to the dome, catches that one and goes ahead about 7 to 8 yards. And he's a guy, we talk about novels that he likes. He's got his favorite comic books he likes.
Oh, exactly. He is a great individual. He's a real asset to the community here in Houston. They were sad to see him go. Look at his favorite comics, like Spider-Man, Conan. He's got quite a list here. Not to mention The Flash, by the way, a CBS show this year.
On 2nd and 1, Craig with about 3 yards to spare, picking up the first down.
This is something people have watched San Francisco do for years. Come out, first drive of the second half, march the ball down the field. Houston, from a defensive standpoint, has to know that San Francisco's in their ball control mode. They're not going to be popping it downfield. They're going to run it in the middle. They're going to fling it outside to the back, get it short to the receivers. But the goal here is to eat up time and get points from San Francisco, and nobody does it better.
First and 10. Two tight ends set again. Montana throws it complete to Brent Jones and just got it away as he was being pressured.
And John Grimsley, number 59, who held out earlier this year, was all over Brent Jones on that pass. Good play by Brent, concentrating and feeding it right into his hands. The coaches are very happy with Grimsley now that he's back, and they're trying to find a place for him to play. He's been a real sort of a battler, a tackler, a real hitter in the middle for the Houston Oilers, and here Brent just stays with it and concentrates and takes a shot on his left side by Johnny Meaves, number 91.
2nd and 1. Dropped in back, no, loose. Roger Craig shakes loose, and a magnificent run just to keep him losing more yardage. He did lose 3 on the play.
John Jones, 96, on the stop.
You know, you see Joe Montana do a lot of things. You see him throw touchdown passes. You see Joe Montana with his fingers raised and up in the air. Word number 1. You don't see Joe do real often? Throw a block. Look at Joe Montana throw a block on Fuller, 95. Comes back, knocks him down, and buys his back a little time. And Fuller's going to be a little embarrassed in the morning. He's going to come watch that film. I don't believe I let Montana block me.
3rd and 4. Montana, incomplete, intended for Harry Sidney.
Good pressure on Montana is going to come here from Ezra Johnson, number 90, who lined up over the left guard. Guy McIntyre, almost an interception. The ball is tipped by Harry Sidney, number 24. And Johnson, 23, almost gets his 2nd interception of the day. There's Joe talking to Guy McIntyre, his left guard. So like, okay, Guy, I'm not mad, but what happened?
Barry Helton on to punt. Gerald McNeil, Ice Cube, back for the Oilers. Not a good punt at all. Hits at the 30. And settles down at about the 28-yard line. A 33-yard punt only, and only 3.4 seconds hang time. Good position for the Oilers. And a good-looking shot, an aerial shot of the Houston Astrodome, a building inside of which the game taking place today. The Houston Oilers on top of the San Francisco 49ers, 14-7. First and 10. Oilers at their own 28. Moon has a tip, nearly intercepted. Bill Romanowski right there for the tip ball. Give Charles Haley the credit for putting the pressure on.
It's a good job in the middle of the 49er defense by Charles Haley, who's standing up right here. He goes in here. Michael Carter pushes in. They just get good pressure. And they throw the ball, or they make Warren Moon try to throw the ball through their arms and catch out. Look at the size of these arms. Charles Haley gets him and hits him right on the elbow. And Romanowski, 53, almost gets an interception.
Second and 10. Inside handoff to Lorenzo White. White, first down. Flag on the play as Lorenzo White takes it across the 40 to about the 44. But there is a flag back near the line of scrimmage.
I don't know where that flag went down. That's holding against an offensive lineman somewhere.
74 of the offense, 10 yards, still second down.
As I said, as we look at Jack Pardee, some things just don't leave you.
I tell you, that is a bad time as an offense in general to get that sort of a play. It's one thing when you do it on an incompletion, but Bruce Matthews has got to feel just a little bit sick about getting it on a big play. There's Matthews here, second from the left, the right guard going here, and he's going to be going against Pierce Holt, a guy they're very, very concerned. The Oilers are very concerned with. He seemed to sort of fend him off and push him. I want to tell you, if they thought that was holding, they must have been calling it downfield when he was on Romanowski, because he didn't hold Holt.
From the 18 on second and 20. Moon throws it complete to White. And White dropped by Romanowski. It's going to be about 5 yards shy of the first down marker.
Lorenzo White is a back with great explosion, good speed, and he's got really, really elusive moves. But he says my moves and my shaking and my trying to evade people sometimes gets me in trouble. He's had some big fumbles in his career, probably the largest being in last year's AFC wildcard game against Pittsburgh. Houston seemed to be on their way to a victory. He laid the ball on the ground. Basically, that play cost the Oilers going further last year in the playoffs.
3rd and 5 from the 34. Moon throws it incomplete in the direction of Drew Hill. And Hayward Jeffries was also underneath. It'll bring up a punting situation for the Oilers.
The 49er defenders seem to be just a little bit closer to the Oiler receivers and are just getting a little bit more and more aggressive as this half goes on. Houston has to keep their patience, like I mentioned, and keep their poise. The Niners are starting to tighten the screws on this offense. Now's crunch time for the offense. How do you react when a good team has got you down and is starting to come after you? You still got a 7-point lead.
Greg Montgomery on to punt. John Taylor back for the 49ers. Low. Taylor from the 24. Loses the ball. Gets it back. Loses it again. Recovered by the 49ers. A 42-yard punt.
John Taylor hasn't been doing this for a few weeks. No excuse for this. He just has poor control of the ball. Not only does he do it once, he gets hit and just drops it again. And luckily for him, last year's #1 pick, Keith DeLong, is right there to make up the difference. And there's the guy for the Niners that can make up a lot of differences, Joe Montana.
San Francisco 1st and 10 from its own 22. To Jerry Rice, incomplete.
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Houston Oilers and the National Football League is prohibited.
All right, Randy. 2nd and 10.
We talk about the 49ers and their road winning streak. 6 of the 12 games on the road, the Niners have trailed at halftime, have come back to win. They're used to coming back on the road.
Play action. Montana going up top to John Taylor. Touchdown, San Francisco. A 78-yard pass play from Montana to Taylor. And Chris Dishman, the man beaten.
I don't know if Chris Dishman fell down, forgot, or dropped his coverage, but John Taylor was all by himself as he crossed the field.
And I thought Taylor was playing with a bruised lower back.
Well, obviously his pain stops at his lower back and doesn't get down into his legs.
At
because
all.
once he caught that ball, he was gone. Pointing to his elbow, he's got a little bit of a ding. He's wearing these, looks like different types of elbow pads, and a lot of the times these backs and receivers wear those pads, they can make the ball more slippery. And the ball pops out.
Kofor on for the point after. It's up, and it's good. So San Francisco, at the 10:04 mark of the third quarter, has tied the game at 14. Third quarter action, 10:04 remaining. Deadlocked at 14 apiece. Joe Montana found John Taylor. Not the running shoot, just run and score. 2 plays, 78 yards, grand total of 17 seconds as Mike Kofor set to kick off for the 49ers. Bernard Ford, the deep man for the Oilers, and he takes it at the 9. Up to the 30. 21-yard return by Bernard Ford.
And we look at Joe Montana, and let's take a look at his last touchdown pass. You know what this is? This is a case of John Taylor making Chris Dishman look a little bad because Dishman gets out of position, and now you're giving John Taylor a field to run to. Watch the ball almost come out. It was almost a fumble right there. Look at that. And that, like I mentioned earlier, are those new elbow pads. They're a little bit slick. They're a little slippery. He's not concentrating. Look at that. He almost dropped it. I remember years ago in a wild card playoff game playing the Giants, Jerry Rice dropped one almost identical to that also would have been either a long play or a touchdown.
From the 30, 1st and 10 for the Oilers. White. Across the 35. The 40. First down by 2 yards. Lorenzo White. 13-yard gallop. Chet Brooks on the stop.
Houston is being patient, and they're staying with what they intended to do at the beginning of the day, and that's run the ball. Good job by the offensive line of the Houston Oilers, staying on their guys. White just gets into the backfield and continues the running attack of the Oilers. It hasn't been impressive, but it has been effective. They got to be patient enough to stay with that run and keep the ball away from the 49er offense.
From the 43, on first down, Moon, incomplete. Nearly intercepted by Ronnie Lott. The intended receiver was Hayward Jeffries.
Both of those catches would have been very difficult. Jeffries was diving, he was stretched out, the ball glanced off his hands, and Ronnie Lott, it really looked to surprise him. He looked like he was filling more to make a big hit than to intercept, and next thing he knew, the ball was down around his ankles.
Tampa Bay on top of Dallas and Minnesota. Minnesota only 8-8 with Herschel Walker. They were 11-5 in the 16 games prior to Walker's arrival. 2nd and 10. White, the lone back. No flags on the play. Moon to Drew Hill, complete for the first down. 16-yard pass play from Warren Moon to Drew Hill.
And we talked about on that last play that it looked like Ronnie Lott was filling up to make a hit. It's a good pass by Warren Moon. Nice catch by Drew Hill. And he knows Ronnie Lott is coming. And watch him come right over the top of Drew Hill. Drew Hill's a veteran. He's smart. He's getting down on the carpet. And Ronnie Lott skids. Look at 5 yards. He skids on his shoulder. Had a little velocity behind that hitch.
3 catches for 52 yards for Hill. 1st and 10 from the 41 of San Francisco. Moon going up top. Incomplete. In and out of the hands of Hayward Jeffries. And boy, has Moon placed the balls there today.
If there is one wide receiver that is the most concerned about his drops, it's been Haywood Jeffries. He's a free spirit, but he still comes in on Tuesdays, on days off, to come in for extra balls. This one is on his hands. It is inexcusable, and no one in this entire stadium feels worse than Haywood Jeffries right now.
The guy who's feeling good is Eric Davis, the left corner beaten by Jeffries. 2nd and 10. 8:16 remaining in the third. Tie ball game, 14-all. Handoff to White, diagnosed nicely by Pierce Holt, dropped in the backfield.
78 Holt on the tackle of White.
Loss of 5 on the play.
Loss of 5 on the play.
Watch Pierce Holt just come slicing in and completely disrupt this play. He will come in and break it down. Bruce Matthews, the right guard, pulls. Holt's buying nothing in the block, down by Williams, the right tackle, and gets right by him. Nice play by Pierce Holt.
Third-year player out of Angelo State, Pierce Holt. 3rd and 15 for the Oilers from the 46 of San Francisco. Here comes Holt again. Flag on a play. Moon runs it. And Moon nailed to the carpet by Ronnie Lott, who then helps him up. But there is a flag on the play.
It would appear that hold will be against Bruce Matthews, working on Pierce Holt.
Well, you wouldn't have known by the way Ronnie Lott was about to hit Moon that they are good friends.
Who better to take a good shot at and put a hurt on than a good buddy? Well, this isn't a hard decision. You want him to get a chance to punt or what?
Jerry Austin trying to do a little housekeeping here.
The Niners know Zendejas is no threat from 50-plus yards. They'd be punting if they decline it.
And Jack Pardee is well aware of the kicking difficulties.
Holding number 78 of the offense. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
That's Don Maggs, 4th-year player out of Tulane.
Now watch Lott come from the right, number 42. You think Warren Moon saw him coming? Lott gets that look in his eyes. He makes Mike Singletary look like a kindergarten student when he gets that vicious look in his eye when he starts coming after you.
So Warren Moon is still on the field. And on 4th down, the Oilers are going to go for it. They've got 6 yards to go for the 1st down. Complete for the 1st down. Curtis Duncan.
What a show of confidence by Jack Pardee and his offense, and specifically in his receivers. They've had drops in the last few weeks. They've had crucial drops today. What's he do? He calls a nice, quick pass play. Curtis Duncan was a crisp pattern. He's got plenty of room in front of him. 1st down. Gutsy call on 4th down.
Ball at the 29 of San Francisco. 6:32 remaining in the third. All tied at 14 apiece. Trips left. White, the ball carrier, trying to get to the outside. An 8-yard run. Call it 9 by Lorenzo White, and Houston on the march. And an appreciative crowd here at the Astrodome. Packed house watching the 49ers and the Oilers battle it out, all tied at 14 apiece. James Brown along with Randy Cross, 5:56 remaining in the third. And Houston, Jack Pardee's club, threatening.
And they're running the ball. They're eating up some clock here. And I got to point this out. The left tackle, Maggs, got called for holding before. He just pancaked Dennis Brown with a great block to spring Lorenzo White.
2nd and 1. White for the 1st down. It was Houston on the opening drive, culminating a long march with a 1-yard run by Moon. Then Moon found Drew Hill, 30-yard strike. They went up 14-0. Joe Montana comes back and finds Jerry Rice for a 6-yard score. And here in the third quarter, John Taylor, a 78-yard strike from Joe Montana. That accounts for the score, and we're all tied at 14 apiece. Warren Moon directing things, 1st and 10. Ball at the 18 of San Francisco. Going for Duncan. Incomplete as Johnny Jackson will make that Dave Waymer. Tight coverage, draped him like a cheap suit.
Timing and execution in the run and shoot offense down in the red zone inside the 20 is very, very key. They had good timing, they had good execution, and a good play by Dave Waymer. He was right there, had his arm inside Duncan's arm. That wasn't pass interference. That was a fine play by Dave Waymer. And he's the guy that frustrated the 49ers for years when he was playing with the New Orleans Saints. He's not flashy. He just gets to the spots that affect plays. He can drive a quarterback nuts.
2nd and 10. 10th play of this drive. Moon. Complete. Touchdown. Houston. Hayward Jeffries.
Jeffries dropped that long pass earlier in this drive that he had beaten Eric Davis, the rookie, number 25. Well, Mr. Davis had a little something put on him that in the business is referred to as being toast, because he is going to be burned right here by Jeffries. Trailing him badly, touchdown Houston.
Zendejas, after a high snap, converts the point after. And the Oilers move out in front by a touchdown. Hayward Jeffries on the receiving end of that 18-yard pass from Warren Moon for the go-ahead touchdown for the Oilers. Tony Zendejas to kick off for the Oilers. And Dexter Carter takes it from the 5. And Carter with an excellent return across the 30 to the 32, about a 27-yard return stopped by Eric Fairs.
Now watch the protection Warren Moon is going to get from his offensive line. Very good protection. They're rushing the ball effectively. That slows down a rush. The 49ers told us we've got to get fire. We've got to get people in Warren's face. You see anybody close to him? You see anybody in here? Nobody. Warren is not even worried about it. Fabulous job of not only run blocking, but pass blocking by the Houston Oilers. Big confidence boost that last drive.
4:32 remaining in the third, 1st and 10. Complete to Jerry Rice to the right sideline. 7-yard pass play will bring up a 2nd and 3.
And a play like that is a good reminder not only to the Oilers, but the Oiler crowd. You don't celebrate too soon or too fast against the San Francisco 49ers. They know how to come back in a flash, as Chris Dishman and the Oilers learned earlier when John Taylor went 78 yards for their 2nd touchdown.
And as Joe Montana has shown throughout his 12-year career. 2nd and 3. Craig, 1st down. Twisted knee and all, Roger Craig runs for 10 yards on that play.
Here we'll see the right tackle, Steve Wallace, and the right guard, Harris Barton, come out leading on this counter sweep. Watch Roger Craig. Look at those knees. Look at him turning. Look at him moving. The hardest working man in football.
And Roger Craig limping off. Talk about playing hurt. 1st and 10. From the 48. Montana. Nearly intercepted. Knocked down by Richard Johnson.
And Richard Johnson has made quite a few key plays today. I see them attacking and picking on Chris Dishman, number 28, on the other side. Look for them to go back there more often.
Dave Waymer playing a little ice pack, necessary for a veteran.
And just watch the end of this play at the way Richard Johnson comes in here and nearly snares himself an interception. Concentrating. You know, defensive backs are just as good athletes as wide receivers, but obviously they don't all have quite as good a hands as wide receivers.
From their own 48, San Francisco, 2nd and 10. Montana complete to Craig. And Craig battling his way up near the first down marker. Looks to be a little shy, about a half a yard.
We saw Roger Craig after his last run come off the field briefly to kind of rest, and he had a little bit of a limp in his gait. And I can tell you from personal experience, when you get a little ding in your knee, really the worst thing you can do is get out and rest for an extended period of time, because that swelling gets in there, things fill up, and it feels worse. Roger's better off here just running.
The spot of the ball will make it 2 yards to go for the first down. 3rd and 2. Ball at the 44 of Houston. Rice. Terry Kennard on the tackle, but it looks like he tackled him at the necessary yardage needed. Close enough for a measurement.
And we mentioned a while back that the thing missing so far from the 49er offense this year was kind of the tricks and the gadgets. Jerry Rice was lined up at sort of what looked like a near tight end almost in the short yardage offense, and came around, just worked him on a sweep, almost a reverse.
If you looked at the eyes of Joe Montana on that play, he seems very comfortable that the first down is a foregone conclusion. And he's correct.
Well, it's 3rd and 2, and one of the things that's made the Niners offense so tough is they keep teams looking. Look at Jerry Rice's eyes. He's looking in at the quarterback. He's anxious. He wants the ball. It's 3rd and 2. You gonna run? Nah. Harris Barton, the right guard, comes out, leads him on a sweep. Not even a reverse. That was a sweep by Harris Barton. And Jerry Rice, who had the ball.
2 minutes remaining in the 3rd. 1st and 10 from the 42 of Houston. Loose ball. It looks like Houston's recovered. And they did.
There will be no contention here earlier in the play that the ball was going forward or that Joe Montana might have been throwing the ball. He wasn't. That ball just sort of popped loose. It hits Bubba Paris, number 77, the left tackle, in the back, but Bubba doesn't even know it. You wear so many pads and you're that big, a little thing like a football hitting you is not going to bother you. Where it bounces off Childress, then it hits Bubba Paris. Bubba doesn't know where it is. He hears people screaming. Meade jumps on it. He can't get it. Finally, Sean Jones, big number 96, crawls down to the bottom of the pile and comes up with the ball. Now look, the ball just comes loose. I believe that was Johnny Meade, number 91, coming around Bubba Paris and causing that fumble.
Ball at the 41 of San Francisco. Houston, 1st and 10. Moon. Incomplete. Intended receiver was Gerald McNeil. Eric Davis right there on the coverage.
Good coverage by Eric Davis right there. Unlike the last play when he got beat by Haywood Jeffries, he was all over the receiver, came up over the top without touching and knocked the ball away.
Davis, a rookie out of Jacksonville State.
We'll take one more look at the fumble here. And that's Sean Jones, not Johnny Meade, that makes that fumble happen, and then he comes back and recovers the ball for the Houston Oilers. As he gets in a pushing contest with Roger Craig.
2nd and 10. White. And Lorenzo White ahead for 4. Bring up a 3rd and 6. 1:29 and counting remaining in the 3rd quarter of play. Oilers on top, 21-14.
Pierce Holt is having a heck of a second half so far. Watch 78 come through here. Matthews can't get him. He penetrates. You know, a lot of guys are weight room strong. Pierce Holt is good old-fashioned country strong. He's been strong since he was a little baby. He was strong in the 3rd grade, and he'll be strong till he's about 90.
Country strong. 3rd and 6 from the 37. Under a minute to play. Flag on a play. Incomplete. Don Griffin batted that one down. There is a flag on the play.
As has happened almost throughout this entire game, Warren Moon's cadence is really bothering the front line of the San Francisco 49ers.
Offside, defense left in, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
We'll make it a 3rd and 1, Randy.
When they don't attribute a number, that usually means there were so many guys offside, they don't want to really blame it on any one guy. I like it when they make the call, middle of the defensive line offsides.
But you guys normally find out on Monday morning.
Oh, immediately. If it's the offensive people, immediately.
In addition to the film session.
They don't forget offensive linemen's numbers. Defensive linemen, they forget once in a while.
3rd and 1 from the 32 of San Francisco. 50 seconds remaining in the 3rd. Play action. And Moon was in the grasp. Give the credit to Charles Haley, who diagnosed that play. And that's a sack. 4th sack of the season for Charles Haley.
Like all great defensive pass rushers, Charles Haley may not get there early, but he's going to get there. Working against Williams here, number 73. Williams goes down. He's expected to take the fake. He doesn't take the fake. He has complete control of Warren Moon. Good call by the referee.
And it's a loss of 4 on the play.
Defensive linemen are drilled on that. Action goes away. Check the quarterback for the ball.
And the Oilers will go for it on 4th down again. 4th and 5 from the 36. Incomplete and nearly picked off by Ronnie Lott.
Lott, 42, broke it up.
Intended receiver was Ernest Givens.
There's an old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And the 49ers were not about to be fooled the second time on 4th down. First time it was 4th and 6. This time it was 4th and 5. They aren't giving Warren Moon anything. Warren thinks he's got something. All he's got is Ronnie Lott diving in and almost having an interception, diving in front of Ernest Givens, number 81.
And Kevin Fagan working hard on that line.
1st and 10, San Francisco.
1st and 10 for the 49ers. Ball at their own 36. Roger Craig, the ball carrier. Well, that's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. Houston 21, San Francisco 14. All coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Start of the 4th quarter here in Houston, Texas. Good ball game. Houston on top by a touchdown. And moments ago, San Francisco's Charles Haley leaving the field. We think he's suffering with a slight groin pull. We'll get a confirmation of that.
Oh, it has to be serious enough that the 49ers feel they want to go inside and have another look at it.
2nd and 8 for San Francisco. Ball at their own 38. Montana going up top for Brent Jones. Complete inside the 30 of Houston.
And James, there's another saying, if you play, you pay. And Jack Pardee and the Oilers went for it on 4th down. And they didn't get it, and you're giving the best offense in the NFL a chance to get field position on the 35. Here's Jones right here, matched up man-on-man with Bubba McDowell, number 25, and McDowell told us, here's a tight end that can get downfield. I think he's every bit as good as Rodney Holman from the Cincinnati Bengals. And he does a great job of getting behind McDowell and getting open. But Houston may have made a very critical error giving the 49ers the ball on the 35-yard line.
Pick up a 32, 1st and 10 from the 30 of Houston. Craig. Hit and dropped by Al Smith.
Because regardless of what happens here on this drive, and you see Roger Craig limping a little bit and asking for a little relief from the sideline, Don Smith seems to be shaken up down on the field. But regardless of what happens here on this drive, Doug Smith, I'm sorry, regardless of what happens here on this drive, San Francisco is already within field goal range. Could be a very critical error. They went for it on 4th. They didn't get it. We'll be back.
This NFL game summary is sponsored by Levi's 100% Cotton Dockers. If you're not wearing Dockers, you're just wearing pants.
Well, Houston has done exactly what Randy Cross said. They cannot commit a turnover. Rushing yards, favorite, of course, Houston. Montana and Moon both looking awfully impressive in the statistical department. Right now, Houston on top by a touchdown.
They've hung close. They, being Houston, have hung close. They've done a lot of very, very good positive things in this second half. But I have to keep harping on this. I think they made a critical error in going for it the second time on 4th down. You're giving the 49ers that kind of field position. You can't do that to the 49ers. You can't give Joe Montana the ball on the 35-yard line and figure to really win on it too often. As Doug Smith heads off the field, he was hit on the lower leg. He was in the backside of the play, and he gets hit on the lower leg by Bubba Paris. Here's Doug Smith. Here's Bubba Paris. Bubba will come down and try to block him, and he gets caught on Doug Smith's left or right leg, actually. It's the kind of thing the Niner linemen are taught. They're taught to block low. They're taught to take the guy out of the play by taking his legs out of the play.
And Doug Smith was shot through that right knee of his this past offseason in his hometown in North Carolina. On 2nd and 9, Montana to Brent Jones, complete for the first down inside the 10. Bubba McDowell with the hit, but Brent Jones continuing to free himself. That one a 22-yard pass play.
Brent Jones had his best year by far last year, really being highlighted in the 49er offense last year. And this year, surprisingly, the 49ers tight end position has become one of a threat deep. And that's due to the speed and the ability of Brent Jones. Brent Jones is a tight end that's 6'3", 230 pounds, 6'4", who can run a 4.5 40.
1st and goal from the 7. Carter to the 4. And Dexter Carter, at only 5'9", 170, takes a wicked hit.
He was 5'9". He's still 170, but he might be 5'8" after that one. He saw that hit coming, decided to drop down, scrunch his shoulders, and drive through the line. And the next thing he knew, his shoulder pads felt like they were down around his waist.
Said he had his best week of practice because he knew he was going to get some time in the backfield. 2nd and goal, ball at the 3. Carter. A loss on the play of about 3.
The 49ers for years have been featuring a sweep. They sweep left, they sweep right. You see Guy McIntyre, the left guard, number 62, pulls out. They have Rathman out in front to lead block, but Houston is not fooled. Houston was slanting to their right, 49er left, and read that the entire way.
Roger Craig not in the game right now, having retwisted that right knee of his, questionable. Rathman and Carter, the backs, on 3rd and goal from the 6. Play action. Montana throws it at the last moment to Tom Rathman, incomplete. And Montana with the show of excitement on that play.
Houston has done a fine job of game planning for the 49ers. They're watching the quarterback. Fuller sees him come out there. He's going to pursue outside, and they've got everybody covered. The 49ers fool a lot of people with this fake sweep. Joe to the right. Look at him. He's mad. Oh, darn. Oh, shoot.
This will be a 24-yard field goal attempt by Mike Cofer. 7 of 12 this year, and that is good. So Cofer bangs it through. And San Francisco trailing by 4.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world. Today's Duracell, the copper top battery. And by America's favorite light beer, Miller Lite, the sole sponsor of the NFL Player of the Year Award.
No perspiration on the forehead of George Seifert. So he takes a look at his 49ers, who trailed 21-17. Mike Cofer kicking off. And the deep man, Bernard Ford, takes it in the end zone, touchback, and will bring it out to the 20. Next Sunday here at CBS, of course, we always get started with the last word, the NFL Today. That gets started at 12:30 Eastern Time, and that'll be followed by doubleheader action. San Francisco at Atlanta, Green Bay at Tampa Bay, Detroit at Kansas City. And the second half of the doubleheader, many of you will see the New York Giants take on the Redskins at Washington, and Dallas at Phoenix. .11:30 remaining in the contest here. Houston on top, 21-17.
And Houston's got to look to do what they did on the last drive, that they had the ball. They've got to run the ball effectively, not take big chances with the passing game, and eat up some of this clock and keep it away from Joe Montana.
Alan Pinkett, the lone back on first down. And Moon in the grasp of Pierce Holt. Loss of 3 on the play, and Pierce Holt with the sack.
And here we see Holt, top of the screen, working against Bruce Matthews, the right guard. And once again, Pierce Holt's coming so hard, so low, so fast. Matthews, he just bulldozes him back. Matthews doesn't have a chance. Pierce Holt drives right through the block.
Second down from the 11. Moon to Pinkett, and Pinkett dragged down. And Charles Haley, who's playing in pain. Pressure applied that time by Kevin Fagan as well. Tight action with 10:33 remaining here in the fourth at the Astrodome in Houston. The Oilers on top, 21-17. James Brown along with Randy Cross and Haley, I mentioned, playing in pain, heading to the sideline.
And the Oilers are faced with a situation where if they don't get a first, they should at least push the ball out around the 20-25, give them decent kicking room to get it down the field.
3rd and 23 from the 7. Complete to Pinkett. And Pinkett with not nearly enough yardage. Dropped by Darrell Pollard. So the Oilers will come on to punt, and San Francisco should be looking at good field position.
And they would have been looking at better field position, James. If they would have not made that completion and had to kick from the 7, the punter would have been backed up all the way. Montgomery would have been almost on the end line, and the 49ers would have probably at least would have caught the ball inside of the 50. But John Taylor now won't get this ball probably on the other side of the 40-yard line.
Montgomery leads the AFC with over a 43-yard punt average. He'll need it here. And he pushes Taylor back, a beauty, from the 27. And Taylor runs out of bounds and is hit hard by Bo Orlando. A 53-yard punt, 8-yard return, 4.3 hang time.
Working to be the best they can be. Teammates, sponsored by the U.S. Army. When the New Orleans Saints need points, Coach Jim Mora knows where to get them. During his career, Morton Anderson, one of the game's all-time most accurate kickers, has averaged well over 100 points per year. In 1989, running back Dalton Hilliard racked up a team record 18 TDs. Together as teammates, Hilliard and Anderson scored more than half of New Orleans' points last season and made the Saints the best they can be.
If the Iraqis you'll meet tonight on 60 Minutes get to do what they want to do, we could pull out of the Gulf Monday morning. What do they want to do? Kill Saddam Hussein. 60 Minutes tonight on CBS, and tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, it's Game 2 of the American League Championship Series coming to you live from Boston's Fenway Park. Right here, back to live action. 1st and 10 from the 36 for San Francisco. 9:18 remaining in the game. Montana out of the pocket, throws it complete to Rathman. And Rathman run out of bounds at the 40. A 4-yard pickup on the play will bring up a 2nd and 6.
We talked about earlier on the NFL Today that Big Bubba Paris, number 77, was hurt. Had a little bit of a pulled hamstring from a race with Steve Wallace. His mobility is a little limited. He's not moving quite as good as he'd like to. His holding hasn't been affected. His leg whipping hasn't been affected. Sean Jones said Bubba Paris is the best holder in the NFL. He says he's so good at it, even the referees and officials are tired of hearing about it.
And he's supposed to be a gentle giant, huh? 2nd and 6. Complete to Jamie Williams, who's upended after a 5-yard gain. Will bring up a 3rd and 1.
Well, Sean Jones got the better of that confrontation last time with Bubba Paris. This time, he makes a mistake. He lets Big Bubba get his hands on him. Look at this, right in his chest. I'm sorry, you're not going anywhere when big number 77, who's listed at 299 pounds, which he hasn't been since the 8th grade picnic,
then what is he
gets
really?
your hands on him.
What's he really?
Bubba's in the 330-pound territory.
San Francisco territory right now, 45-yard line, 1 yard, and Rasmussen dives for the first down. So San Francisco keeps its drive alive with 7:58 remaining in the game and trailing by 4. Big Bubba Paris. You said he hasn't seen 299 since high school.
The 8th grade picnic, I believe is what I said. But, you know, Bubba is a big fella, but his size has not affected him. They were very worried last year that if he didn't have to play, if he had to play all the time, he'd wear down. This is a hot, humid, tough game. Bubba's playing fine.
From the 47, 1st and 10. Montana steps up, runs, and drops himself to the ground at about the 48.
Al Smith, 54, on the stop of Montana.
It would appear, at least you'd have to guess, that Pittsburgh there, we saw that score up there, has scored 29 points. Hopefully, for their sake, one of those was a touchdown by their offense. I'm sure Joe Walton would be a little relieved to finally get some points on the board.
First offensive touchdown of the season for Pittsburgh. So Joe Montana's run brings up a 2nd and 4. Ball at the 46 of Houston. Montana gets rid of it in a hurry as he had to. William Fuller in there applying the pressure and got a little help from Ezra Johnson as Montana still on the ground.
I'm sorry, folks. You think Mike Tyson's tough? You think Buster Douglas is tough? This guy's got him ball beat as far as I'm concerned. I've never seen a guy take bigger hits, bigger cracks, and he'll bounce right up. The only one he never really came back up from was when Jim Byrd hit him at the Meadowlands that one time. But watch at the very end, the shoulder right into the stomach, right into the ribs, and Joe will wrestle a play, which brings Steve Young, number 8, in at quarterback.
So Steve Young in to call the plays. Miscommunication on the snap, live ball. And it appears that the 49ers do get it back.
Oh,
that's their first timeout.
Critical thing. They called timeout. Steve Young fumbles the snap. He thinks it's a live play and drops it. And Ray Childress right there falls on the ball and recovers it. Without a timeout, we're talking Houston ball on the 47, 46-yard line going the other way.
And that was an awfully soft whistle.
Here you see the ball never gets up there. The center, Jesse Sapolo, puts it back there. He either short-armed it or Steve Young got out of there too fast, and Childress drops on the ball, but suddenly the officials come in and say timeout's been called. Now watch where the ball comes up.
Well, no one else reacted.
It seemed to be on his fingers. It was on his hands. I think he just dropped it. He might have been stepped on by one of his linemen. Oh, that is critical.
Well, when you get calls like that on the road, then you can have a very good road record as well. So Joe Montana apparently has shaken the cobwebs and is back in action.
You get a second-string quarterback comes in like that. He's very, very nervous. He wants to get back, get the ball, get that first down, and get out of the game. He knows Joe won't be in there long.
3rd and 4. Complete for the first down to John Taylor, and more room. Touchdown, San Francisco, a 46-yard play from Montana to John Taylor. And how many times has it been done by San Francisco?
If you'll remember, the first time you ever saw John Taylor impact the NFL, it was as a punt returner. And as a former punt coverer, you learn early you don't hit guys high and try to drag them down on punt returns. John Taylor is a strong runner, and Chris Dishman makes a critical error trying to tackle him high by the jersey. Get the legs, wrap him up, and tackle him. Sloppy, sloppy play by Chris Dishman.
Mike Gopher on for the point after. And it's good. So the 49ers retake the lead by 3, 24-21. And Randy, we talked yesterday with Jerry Rice, and he said he and Taylor were looking forward to playing against the talkative one, Dishman.
They say Dishman talks a lot of mess, as they put it, and they were going to make sure they'd had a few good plays against him. It's just a poor play by Dishman. John Taylor did nothing spectacular. It should have just been a first down and a first down reception. Dishman tried to get fancy. He tried to do something different, and he lost. And we'll get a look here at Joe. Joe's been banged up. Not his usual celebration. He's still got a little wind knocked out of him. Yes.
You talk about an almost fumble play being critical, and talk about bouncing back after being knocked out of action for a play. Joe Montana comes back and makes the Oilers pay in the worst possible way with the touchdown strike.
Well, we look at the Houston Oilers in the top of this game, and we said, look, they're the number 2 ranked offense, number 3 ranked defense. By numbers like that, they belong to be in the upper echelon of the NFL. This is a key situation. You're down to the world champions. You got to come back now. Now's the time you show your mettle.
Take a look at Roger Craig heading to the locker room, and Jack Pardee going through the mind there to come up with something that will work. There's a scoring drive from the 49ers. Taylor, a 46-yard scoring strike as Kofor boots this one from the 4. McNeil. And McNeil dropped at about the 25-yard line. We'll have baseball coming your way later on tonight here on CBS. Prime time, 8 o'clock. It'll be the A's and the Red Sox in Game 2. Red Sox unraveled in the 8th inning as the A's scored 7 runs. And don't forget tomorrow, I guess I'll be heading out to Pittsburgh for Game 3. The Cincinnati Reds, Pittsburgh Pirates series all tied at 1 apiece. Warren Moon on to lead the Chargers. To take a look at San Francisco, in the first quarter, San Francisco had the ball only 4 minutes and 28 seconds. They have definitely controlled things here from that point forward. From the 24, 1st and 10 for Houston. Pinkett. 2-yard gain, 6:15 remaining in the game as Kevin Fagan on the tackle.
And we talked about that time of possession there earlier on that last play. That is the kind of thing we're seeing now in the NFL, is the 49ers style of ball control offense. It used to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust. You pounded the ball down the field. Not anymore. Houston's showing you the running game, complementing the passing game. The 49ers have done that for a decade.
2nd and 8 for Warren Moon. From his own 26, Alan Pinkett, the lone back. To Givens, complete. And Givens ridden down by Don Griffin. 4-yard pass play. Bring up a 3rd and 4.
4 yards on the pass play. To Givens.
This is a critical situation for Houston Oilers if they want to stay in this ball game. They have got to get a first down here. I believe the 49ers have the ability, if they can make Houston punt, to run a lot, if not all of this clock completely off and win this ball game. The 49ers have what is referred to as a 4-minute offense built to eat up this much time.
And there's 5 minutes remaining in the game. 3rd and 4 from the 30. Moon going up top for Hayward Jeffries, overthrown. Kevin Fagan applying the pressure on Warren Moon.
And the Oilers seem to be picking a little bit on the rookie number 25, Davis. He misses on his jam on Jeffries, but recovers well. Never takes his eyes off the receiver. And as he looks back, he knows the ball's coming, but I think he also knows at that point the ball is way overthrown.
Greg Montgomery on to punt for the Oilers. John Taylor, the dangerous one, back for San Francisco. And Taylor pushed back to the 17 and decides to take it out of bounds at the 21. 53-yard punt, 4-yard return. And a back-and-forth ball game. The run and shoot of the Houston Oilers and the just simply potent offense of the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers lead at 24-21.
And at this point, you'll see San Francisco and Joe Montana go into what I mentioned earlier, the 4-minute offense. What that is, they're running plays designed to stay in the middle of the field, to keep the ball from going out of bounds and stopping the clock. The passing game is not ultra conservative, but receivers are reminded to get 2 hands on the ball and stay in bounds.
Carter. Flag on the play.
Carter.
As Dexter Carter takes it up near the 25. And there's an Oiler player down on the field. Looks like Al Smith.
12 men on defense, 5 yards.
The Oilers have been flagged for 12 men on defense on that last play, which will set up a 1st and 5 for the San Francisco 49ers.
And Al Smith, who's played himself an excellent ball game for Houston down on the field. 4th-year player out of Utah State. Always seems to be in good spirits whenever we talk with him.
Oh, exactly. And he's had a great training camp, a good early season, and now that they're in this 4-3 defense, as you've seen today, they're very effective inside against the run. And one of the keys of their effectiveness inside is that triangle with Childress, Doug Smith, and Al Smith as middle linebacker. He's a run-stopping guy.
Johnny Meads talked about how the change from the 34 defense to the 43 defense is a real positive as far as he's concerned.
Well, as far as the linebackers are concerned, you're looking at just more big linemen to take away blockers. And you see Smith fill the gap right here on Carter. He fills things up, and then everybody else sort of falls on top of him as he gets bent backwards.
Well, he leaves the field under his own power, thank goodness. First and 5, 4:37 remaining. Carter has the first down and spins his way up to about the 37. And Doug Smith is going at it with Jamie Williams as well as Guy McIntyre. Doug Smith, another one who's listed at 285.
You'll see Guy McIntyre, the left guard's going to come through here and pull. Watch the blocking along this side as they seal off the Houston Oilers' left defensive side of their lines. Good job by Jamie Williams to tie it in. You'll see Guy McIntyre pulling. Good block on Grimsley, the middle linebacker. It's one of the reasons Guy McIntyre spent a few days last year at the Pro Bowl in Hawaii for the 49ers.
The backfield for the 49ers, Harry Sidney and Tom Rathman. On 1st and 10. Rathman. Gang tackle. 4-yard run by Rathman. And again, Roger Craig retwisted that right knee and went to the locker room. First quarter, opening drive, Warren Moon took it over for the first score of the game. They led it 7-0. Oilers came right back on second possession. Drew Hill, 30-yard reception. Jerry Rice answered back for the 49ers from Joe Montana. It was 14-7 at the half. Then John Taylor opened things up, a 78-yard touchdown reception in the third quarter. All knotted up. Hayward Jeffries put Houston back on top with an 18-yard reception. And Michael Kofor with a 23-yard field goal, and John Taylor with a 46-yard touchdown reception. 24-21 Houston will make that San Francisco. And flags everywhere here. with 2:56 remaining in the contest.
Number 74 of the offense.
That against
Still
Steve
second
Wallace.
down.
And by getting that penalty, it moves San Francisco into a second and extremely long situation where you're not more likely to feature a passing game. Houston needs to stop them here. And we'll see the movement on the offensive line will happen here. And they got a thing going where you see Big Steve Wallace has had a problem indoors in these dome stadiums. But they got to stop San Francisco here if they want to get the ball back.
And 11. They need to get to the 48 for the first down. Carter. And Carter is going to be well shy of the first down. 8 yards on the run. And Al Smith, who's back in the game on the tackle. Quick recovery.
We mentioned at the start of this drive what the Niners want to do is they want to control the ball on the ground. If they have to throw it, they'll throw short passes, and they'll keep the receivers inbound to eat up the clock.
Timeout called by Houston, leaving them with just one. San Francisco has its full complement of timeouts remaining, 3. 24-21, 2:44 remaining in the fourth quarter. And don't forget, coming up at the conclusion of this game, it'll be the NFL Today post-game show. Greg Gumbel and Terry Bradshaw will bring you up to date on all of today's scores and highlights, as well as a look at baseball's League Championship Series. Speaking of that, Doug Drabeck, the Pittsburgh Pirates, as well as Andy Van Slyke, big football fans, as a matter of fact. Drabeck wanted to be a football player, and I asked him, what position did you want to play? He had the nerve to say punter. And I know that's
very fitting for a baseball player. They should be kickers.
3rd and 3. Rathman, Sidney, the backs. Montana steps up, complete to Rice for the first down. And Jerry Rice inside the 40 of Houston with 2:33 remaining in the game and counting.
Al Smith, 24 on the stop.
Now watch the way the 49ers just take a nice conservative approach. Joe Montana steps up, flips the ball about 7 yards to Jerry Rice, and just lets his receiver work. At this point, the 49ers are 1 first down away from a win right here. The clock is going to stop at the 2-minute warning, and they've got 1 timeout left on the Houston sideline.
2 minutes.
And as Jerry Rice is tended to on the sidelines, we'll take a break. San Francisco leading by 3. The numbers. San Francisco on top by 3. 2 minutes remaining in the game. Timeouts remaining. San Francisco full complement 3. Houston with 1. First and 10. San Francisco better away than the best teams at home in the NFL. Rathman. 1 yard gain. And keep in mind, if the lead holds and San Francisco wins, they will set a new NFL consecutive road victory streak with 12. And Houston has burned off its last timeout with 1:55 remaining. Up at the conclusion of today's game, the NFL Today post-game show with Greg Gumbel and Terry Bradshaw in New York. All the scores and highlights from around the NFL.
At this point right here, the Houston Oilers have to be thinking fumble, turnover. Because if they don't get a fumble or turnover right now, you can stick a fork in them, they're done.
2nd and 9 for San Francisco. Rathman. No gain on the play. The coordinating producer of the NFL on CBS is Chuck Milton. This telecast was produced by Bob Monsbach and directed by Kathy Barretto. The NFL was produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. Senior producer David Winter, and the executive producer is Ted Shaker. Thanks to Gary Lynn and Steve Kleinfeld, stats and spotter. Roger Craig, playing with pain. The note there for sure.
As always, and there's Ronnie Lott, a man that's used to a little bit of pain. And on the end of that last play, we saw Houston, they were tearing at the ball. They were clawing at the arms, trying to get that thing away. They're going after nothing but football here.
3rd and 9, Rathman. Maybe about 4. And with 56 seconds remaining, Houston cannot stop the clock. They have no timeouts remaining. And Montana coolly taking his time.
This will be for Houston one of those games, those gallant efforts you look back on and say, you know, we played real good against San Francisco. It was a good effort by us. But hey, you know what? It still goes down as a loss.
And you take a look at the play clock there. Joe Montana, of course, will allow that to work its way down. A difference of 14 seconds between that and the game clock. And Montana will take the delay of game penalty, not taking any chances. So Joe Montana, who's enjoyed excellent outings against the Houston Oilers, coming into today's game, had thrown for over 800 yards and 7 touchdowns, completing 70% of his passes. Today, 20 of 28, 318 yards and 3 touchdowns.
And if I have to look at 2 things that really cost Houston the game, I look back on going for that second, 4th and 5 and not getting it. And I also have to look at, I hate to point a finger at a player, but Chris Dishman, number 28, their cornerback, cost them some critical plays on 2 long touchdown passes from Joe Montana to John Taylor.
Barry Helton punts it low. It takes a San Francisco bounce as McNeil can't get a handle on the ball. And a touchdown San Francisco. Tom Rathman, with 1 second remaining, falls on a live ball in the end zone.
I believe
now, will it be ruled a muff?
I believe they're going to rule this a muff. They're going to mark it at the point on the field where he first touched the ball and knocked it into the end zone.
And an excellent call.
When a punt is touched in the field of play by the receiving team and the kicker is recovered in the end zone, the kicker gets the ball where the receivers touched it. Therefore, the ball's on the 3-yard line and the game is over.
The bottom line of that is that it was a muff and the game is over. So San Francisco sets a new NFL consecutive road win record at 12 straight. As you take a look at what was defined as a muff.
Hits the ball on a punt, the ball goes to the receiver, he knocks it into the end zone, the kicking team recovers in the end zone, that ball is marked back where the kick returner originally touched the ball.
Well, in any case, the Niners come out victorious 24-21. Niners improve their record to 4-0, sitting atop the NFC West division. And Houston, its record drops to 2-3, came into the day sitting in 2nd place behind the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC Central. So a tough loss for the Houston Oilers. And Randy, I tell you, you talked about Warren Moon being a lot like an Archie Manning type. One of the best quarterbacks to play in a losing situation. For Randy Cross, this is James Brown saying so long from the Astrodome, where our final score is San Francisco 24, Houston 21. Coming up next, the NFL Today postgame show. Greg and Terry will bring you up to date on all